Hello, everyone. Let me ask you this. What comes to mind when you think of coffee and a place to relax? Well, for most people, it's one word Starbucks. It's more than just a coffee shop, it's a space. Today, there are over 35,000 Starbucks stores around the world. But it wasn't always a global icon. Once upon a time, it was just a small shop in Seattle selling coffee beans. So, the question is, how did Starbucks become a brand that turned coffee from a cheap commodity into a premium global experience? This is the story of how Howard Schultz, a man with a vision, turned a humble coffee roaster into a third place between work and home, and how Starbucks didn't just sell coffee, it sold community, connection, and culture. So, the story begins in 1971. Starbucks was founded in Seattle by three friends, Jerry Baldwin, Zev Siegel, and Gordon Bowker. But back then, it wasn't a cafe. It was a store that sold high-quality coffee beans and equipment. That was it. No baristas, no lattes, and no seating. And then came Howard Schultz. In 1982, Schultz joined Starbucks as the head of marketing. But his big idea didn't come from Seattle. It came from Italy. While on a trip to Milan, Schultz was struck by the Italian coffee bars. They weren't just places to grab a caffeine fix, they were community hubs full of conversation and routine. He came back inspired. What if we brought the cafe culture to America? What if Starbucks wasn't just about beans, but about the experience of drinking coffee? Schultz pitched the idea to the founders, and they said no. They weren't interested in running a cafe. They wanted to stick to what they knew, selling beans and machines. So, Schultz did something bold. He left. In 1985, he launched his own cafe called Giornale, based on the Italian coffee bar model. It was a hit. Customers loved the espresso, the atmosphere, and the culture. Then, 2 years later, in 1987, Starbucks' original owners decided to sell the company. Schultz raised the money, about $3.8 million, and bought it. He merged it with his cafe, and that's when the Starbucks we know today was born. From there, growth was rapid. But Schultz didn't want Starbucks to be just another chain. He wanted it to be different and a place where people felt valued. He made a radical decision. Every employee, every part-timers, would be called a partner and received healthcare benefits and stock options. This wasn't just kind, it was strategic. Happy employees meant better service, and better service meant loyal customers. By the 1990s, Starbucks stores were popping up across the country, but something deeper was happening. Starbucks wasn't just selling coffee, it was selling a space, a third place, not home, not work, but somewhere in between. And people loved that. And of course, not everything went smoothly. In the 2000s, Starbucks expanded rapidly, maybe too rapidly. Stores became crowded, the coffee lost its charm, and the brand began to feel more like fast food than a premium experience. Then came the 2008 financial crash. Starbucks suffered, sales dropped, and the stock price fell. Howard Schultz returned as CEO. One of his first moves, he shut down every single Starbucks store in the US for a few hours to retrain baristas on how to make the perfect espresso. This was symbolic, a reset, a reminder that Starbucks wasn't about speed, it was about soul. From there, the company began to evolve. It embraced technology like mobile ordering and payments. It focused more on ethical sourcing, sustainability, and creating a digital community through a Starbucks app. International growth followed, especially in China, where Starbucks became a symbol of modern lifestyle. And yet, the heart of Starbucks remained the same, connection. It's the barista who knows your order, the table where you study for an exam, the meeting spot before a job interview. Starbucks didn't just brew coffee, it brewed moments. Today, it stands as one of the most influential brands in modern business. It turned a daily habit into a meaningful ritual. Howard Schultz once said, "We're not in the coffee business serving people, we're in the people business serving coffee." And that, more than anything, explains Starbucks' success. So, that's it for this episode on the story of Starbucks on the Knowledge Groove podcast. Thank you for listening.